On an average, you only get 6 seconds to make an impact and prove that you are the most suitable and best candidate for whatever you're applying with the help of one document, and that is your CV. Hi everyone. My name is Mehar Sindhu Batra and I'm back with another video. On my channel, we talk about all things productivity and positivity in order for you to accelerate your career and make a greater meaningful impact both professionally as well as personally. So don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit the like button and share this video in case you find it useful. I recently conducted a poll of what kind of videos you want to see from me, and most of you replied saying that you want to see me make a video on CV tips. CV, resume, bio data, whatever you want to call it. Basically the one-page document that makes you get an interview. During my career, I have used my CV for a number of reasons, and that has been while applying for my Chartered Accountancy Articleship, which I have covered in another video, while applying for my MBA, which also I have covered in another video, while applying for internships and jobs in London. So I have a decent amount of experience in making CVs suited for different types of jobs in different countries. So without wasting any more time, let's dive into the topic of this video, which I hope can help a lot of you in the future. First of all, what is a CV? Some people call it resume and some people call it CV, depending on the type of profession you're in. I personally feel a CV or a resume is your personal sales pitch. It is a marketing document. It is a branding document that we use to communicate all the things we've experienced professionally on just 1 or 2 pages. Imagine, that's a lot of information to put down on paper. But sadly, it is the document that gets you through the door and decides the path for your future. There are so many things to keep in mind while thinking about a CV, but I have clubbed them into 5 buckets. After sharing the 5 basic points, I have a few general CV tips towards the end, so stay tuned till the end of this video if you don't want to miss out on those quick CV tips. If you are new here, don't forget to follow me on the Instagram page MSB Vision, because that's where I'm going to have a lot of live streaming videos as well as one-on-one question and answer rounds from all of you. So do follow me on MSB Vision. Starting with the most important thing, and that is the structure of the CV. The structure of the CV should be such that it accumulates all the core areas of your experience into sections. I would recommend having the following headings on your CV: your personal objective, your contact information, your education, your professional experience, your extracurriculars or volunteering experience, any achievements or awards, and your interests. What to put under each of those sections, I'm going to cover in another point. I feel the structure of a CV should be logical, should be crisp, and should be very, very easy to read. Now that we talked about the structure and the basic headings that you can have on your CV, next point is visual. Like I said, the CV should be easy to read, and for that, you have to keep it very clean and very basic. A few tips are: use professional fonts such as Arial, Times New Roman, and my personal favorite, Verdana. The next point I want to cover is colors. Unless you are someone who is applying in a very creative field, avoid using colors on your CV. Colors such as reds, blues, greens don't give a good impression and also make the CV look very loud. Remember, you're applying as a professional, so using templates like these or this is not recommended. The next point is use bullet points. Using bullet points versus writing things in big paragraphs can make the information very crisp and clear and make the CV visually more appealing. The next point sort of continues from the second point, and that is the length of the CV. So many of you have been sending me your CVs, and one thing I have noticed is that someone who's 18, 19 or 20 years old cannot have a CV which is 2 or 3 pages long. They usually say that you should have 1 page per 10 years of experience. But I understand if you have too much to cover, it's okay to make your CV 2 pages long, but that is only after you have 5 or 6 years of experience. Don't repeat information. Use space wisely. It is recommended to have decent amount of white space in your CV and not make it look too cluttered. But also, if you have too much white space, it can work against you and nobody would want to read that CV, because they'll judge on the basis of you not having enough experience to use 2 pages of your CV. Another point to keep in mind is not having a CV that is too wordy. Condense your sentences and reduce the words, and that is the trick of coming up with a good CV. I have made a PDF document which is a worksheet which you can just print and work on, which will really help you decide what are the important points you want to cover on your CV. The link to the worksheet worksheet ready for you to download is in the description box below. And this brings me on to the fourth point of this video, and that is the flow of the actual contents of the CV. If you are a fresher who has recently just graduated and has very little or no experience, your education should come on top. Or if you have just completed a master's degree and are applying after your master's, then again your education should come on top. But if you are changing jobs from one job to another, your most recent job should come on top. So let's say your work experience comes on top, then followed by your education experience. For example, you can see in my CV, I was applying for a job in London that was right after my job in New Delhi. So I have put my most recent experience, my professional work experience right on top under my contact information, and at the bottom is my education. But when I was applying for a job after my MBA, my education came right on top. Get straight to the point and make sure the recruiter knows where you're coming from. And this brings me on to the last point, which is the most important, and that is the content of your CV. The content is actually what goes under each of the sections we've just talked about. The downloadable worksheet, which I have linked down in the description box, that is going to help you narrow down the contents of your CV. I have broken down the worksheet into a few sections. One of them is my degrees, where you can write down what education you have, and the next column is the transferable skills. That is, what are the skills that you got from that experience which you can put on your CV. For example, if I worked in consulting, I can say that the skills I got from that experience were communication skills, dealing with stakeholders, or let's say I worked as an auditor and audited the accounts of 10 companies. I can say that the transferable skills in that case were that I have a wide variety of experience in different industries to understand how businesses work in those different industries. Other sections of the worksheet include thinking through your strengths, your interests, and your career ideas. This worksheet will really help you assess and analyze what are your strengths, interests, and passions, and then you can merge that with the experience that you have and where you want to get to. And it will really help you think of what you want to do next, whether you want to study more, apply for a job. A few other things I want you to keep in mind while thinking about the content of each of the sections is do proper research of where you're applying. Think of the ideal candidate for that position and make sure those are highlighted in your experience and in your interests. Tailor make your CV for each application. Make sure the punctuation is correct and talk in third person. You cannot say, I am a good communicator. You have to say things like strong communication skills. You cannot say something like, I have been working in the company for 15 months on different types of projects. Instead, you have to make that sentence in third person by saying worked, led, and motivated teams to achieve goals. You can use words like worked, managed, led, communicated. So make sure to talk in third person. A lot of you have been sending me your CVs, but in case you want me to check it out, send it to me on my email address, which I have put down in the description box below. So that covers all the 5 points that I wanted to talk about. Now coming on to the general CV tips. So the first thing is don't give too much personal information. Nobody is interested to know your father's name, your mother's name, or the exact address of where you live. Keep the contact information brief right on top of your CV. I know it can get very difficult when you're just applying as a fresher for the first time. So if you want me to make a separate video on CVs, especially for freshers or people with little experience, let me know in the comments down below. So the next point is make sure your email address for them to communicate with you is professional. For example, it cannot be something like janeIsamazing@gmail.com. It should be something like jane_92@gmail.com. That's fine. Or jane.thomas@gmail.com. Remember, that is the first impression you're giving to someone, and if you don't come across as professional, they're probably not going to give you a call or send you an email. The next point is make sure there are no typos or spelling mistakes on your CV. One way to avoid this, and my personal trick, is that I make many people independently read my CV. That could be my parents, my husband, my sister, my friends. Make sure that they have proofread it properly, just so that you get an outsider's perspective on your CV. If you want me to check out your CV, do email it to me. The next point is really think through what you want to put on your CV. Sometimes we think we have no experience, but we actually have been through a lot. So don't miss out on any important information regarding your education or your profession professional experience. That's where my worksheet will come in handy. Really put your thought into this. Use the worksheet and think through the projects, the assignments, the volunteering experience, the skills that you have gathered in all the years of your existence, which we may take for granted, but other people may find it very valuable. Don't take the things you do on a daily basis to be very casual. It can make a great impact on anyone reading your CV. If you have topped any university exams, that should be on your CV. If you have participated in any competitions and won the first, second or third prize, it should be on your CV. The next point is really think through the interests that you put on your CV. Things like watching TV, meeting friends, those are not things that you should put on your CV. Everybody likes to watch TV or meet their friends. How are those interests impacting the place you're applying to? It is good that you want to show you're an all-rounded personality, but think of other things that may sound better. For example, instead of saying you like meeting friends, you can say you're a good communicator or you like networking. So really think through your interests and make them sound professional and interesting at the same time. Another point I want to cover is if you feel your CV is not strong enough, try and fill those gaps up and make your CV stronger. Maybe you can take up an internship during college or you can volunteer at a charity. Those are the signs of a true and qualified and well-rounded applicant, and that is what organizations or institutions are looking for. My last and super important point, which I'm going to conclude this video with, is do not lie on your CV, my friends. It is the one source of truth of your work experience, and one lie will jeopardize your entire career. It should be truthful, to the point, and the best reflection of who you are as a person. And that concludes today's video. I hope you found it useful. Please don't forget to subscribe to this channel and connect with me on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, wherever you want to, and we'll never ever be disconnected. I'll be back soon with another one, but until then, keep visualizing your goals, writing them down, and working hard towards them. I hope to see you soon. Bye.